Cordova is open source mobile development framework which allow us to create mobile applications with standard web technology such as HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript. If you are a web developer and want to create hybrid mobile application which runs on multiple platforms such as Android, iOS, Windows Phone, Windows 10, and many more, Cordova became very popular because of it work on multiple platforms with single code base. Cordova provides lots of plugins using which we can access native mobile functionalities like camera, storage, contacts, etc. With command line interface we can add multiple platform for our application as well as plugins. We can also build and run our application in it. Cordova provides lots of plugins using which we can access native mobile functionalities like camera, storage, contacts, etc. Use Apache Cordova if you are a mobile developer and want to extend an application across more than one platform, without having to implement it with each platform's language and tool set. A web developer and want to deploy a web app that's packaged for distribution in various app store portals. A mobile developer interested in mixing native application components with a web view, special browser window, that can access device-level APIs, or if you want to develop a plugin interface between native and web view components. There are several components to a Cordova application. The following diagram shows a high-level view of the Cordova application architecture. Our application lies inside the web app component which lives inside the native web view. We can create a bridge with the native functionalities of the mobile OS using the Cordova plugins component which are written in the native programming language of the mobile OS. Web app. This is the part where your application code resides. The application itself is implemented as a web page. By default a local file named index.html that references CSS, JavaScript, images, media files, or other resources are necessary for it to run. Plugins are an integral part of the Cordova ecosystem. They provide an interface for Cordova and native components to communicate with each other and bindings to standard device APIs. This enables you to invoke native code from JavaScript. The Cordova command line tool is distributed as an NPM package. To install the Cordova command line tool, follow these steps. 1. Download and install Node.js. On installation you should be able to invoke Node and NPM on your command line. 2. Install the Cordova module using NPM utility of Node.js. The Cordova module will automatically be downloaded by the NPM utility. On OS 10 and Linux you can run the command sudo npm install gcordova, while on Windows it's the same without the sudo command. Note, the G flag above tells npm to install Cordova globally, otherwise it will be installed only in the current working directory. By default, the Cordova create script generates a skeletal web-based application whose home page is the project's www.index.html file. The image on the right shows the basic directory tree of a Cordova application. To create a new application, run the command shown in the slide and replace the id of the application and the name with the name of your application. Config XML configures your application and allows you to customize the behavior of your project. www contains the project's web artifacts, such as .html, .css and .js files. As a Cordova application developer, most of your code and assets will go here. Platforms contains all the source code and build scripts for the platforms that you add to your project. Plugins. Any added plugins will be extracted or copied into this directory. Hooks. This directory may contain scripts used to customize Cordova CLI commands. Any scripts you add to these directories will be executed before and after the commands corresponding to the directory name. Useful for integrating your own build systems or integrating with version control systems. Merges. Platform-specific web assets, HTML, CSS and JavaScript files are contained within appropriate subfolders in this directory. Add the platforms that you want to target your ad. We will add the iOS and Android platform and ensure they get saved to config XML and package JSON. Running commands to add or remove platforms affects the contents of the project's platforms directory, where each specified platform appears as a subdirectory. By default, Cordova Create script generates a skeletal web-based application whose start page is the project's www.index.html file. Any initialization should be specified as part of the divisority event handler defined in www.jsindex.js. Run the following command to build the project for all platforms. Cordova build. Run the following command to build the project for specific platforms. Cordova build Android. Run an application by executing the following command. Cordova emulate Android. This will run the application and view it within an emulator. While running the command Cordova run Android will test the application right in your device. Note that this method requires to have the developer mode enabled in your device and USB debugging set to true. A plugin exposes a JavaScript API for native SDK functionality. Plugins are typically hosted on NPM and you can search for them on the plugin search page. Some key APIs are provided by the Apache Cordova open source project and these are referred to as core plugin APIs. Adding a plugin provides us with all the methods that we can use to communicate with the native side of the OS. For instance, installing the camera plugin, we have methods to use the camera to take photo, video, etc. After installing Cordova, updating it is easy. Running the command npm update g Cordova will update the Cordova version installed in your operating system. To get the version of the currently installed Cordova, you should run the command Cordova v. Finally, Cordova can also update the platforms you set up for your application with the command Cordova platform update Android to update the Android and Cordova platform update iOS for iOS update.